Good day, YouTube. Today's topic is the grass is not always greener on the other side. What do I mean by that? Have you ever thought about what he or she, a good friend of yours, or somebody that you know is doing with their time, what they have? Have you ever noticed that? I'm sure the answer is yes, because I think it's human nature for us as individuals to look at someone and see what they're doing. Especially on social media nowadays, it's like you can see everything that they're doing, even if they're not near you. And the second part of that is, how do you feel about yourself, to include me? I think it's human nature for us to do that. I can tell you that when I was my first job in the Air Force, I liked it, but I didn't love it, firefighter. And I remember looking at my friends who were both civilians, and they were getting to do what they wanted to do, and it had an impact on me. Maybe not a negative impact, but it had an impact on me to the point where I was thinking, wow, they're so lucky for what they're doing or for what they have. And what about me? Here's the thing. It's a completely separate life. What they're doing, what they have, is completely separate than what we or you or me have. So I would say focus more on what you're doing, on what you want, and how you're going to get there. I have some notes here. It's a negative thing when we start to focus more on others as opposed to us. That's just my opinion. So therefore, I'm going to say focus more on yourself, on what you want to do, and how you're going to make that happen. Here's a simple example. I have a friend of mine that I work with. He works right across the hall from me. It's literally, I can speak from my office to his office, and we do that all the time. He graduated from the Air Force Academy, and I live near the Air Force Academy, so when I go to a football game or just walk around the campus, it just, to me as an outsider, seems like, wow, I wish I would have known about this when I was younger, or I wish I would have applied. But that's gone. That opportunity is gone. So it's not my journey. It wasn't my journey or a chapter in my life. I have to embrace my chapter, my journey, how I got to where I am in the Air Force. I did ROTC, so my experiences with that. You know, like I said, yesterday is gone. So I would say don't focus too much on the past, but remember the past so you can make changes if you need to make changes for your future as far as your journey. Another example, small example, is I may see people walking around the Air Force with their sleeves of their blouse rolled up, and I'm thinking, wow, I wish I could do that because I used to be able to do that, and now I can't because of my tattoo. It's a big tattoo. It covers over 25%. But at the same time, I wouldn't do it right now because I don't want to be a distraction. So that's a small example. In my opinion, life is what you make it. Where you are, what you're given, and where you want to go, like I said several times already in this video, how are you going to make that happen? And that's the good thing, that life is good, whether you're here, whether you're there, it's what you make of it. One of the things that I like to do is to learn from others. My co-worker, my friend at work, the guy's sharp. And that's one of the things that I'm like, you know what, he knows his job inside out, and he's confident, and he delivers, and that's one of the things that I'm going to say, hey, that's exactly how I want to be. I want to be able to do my job. I just got back from a TDY in Georgia, and I have to give a presentation in front of 100 people on an area that is not my area of expertise. But I practiced, I delivered, and that makes me as an individual feel good. I have a briefing this week at work at the Wingman Day, Commander's Call, and I have to brief suicide prevention and resiliency. That's a piece of cake because that's what I'm trained in. My thing is to prepare and deliver. So going back to that, the grass is not always greener on the other side. We have to remember that everybody has challenges. Everybody has something that they want to do, or everybody has something that they want that they may not have. So we're all in that same position. Definitely focus more on yourself than you do with others. I've heard a few times about what's going to happen when we are at our deathbed. Let's say we are 85 years old and we know the end is near, and we're on a bed for the last month, And we're going to have a lot of time to think about our lives, what we did. We're going to have a lot of time to reflect. And this is what I've heard, that in the end, it's not a race with your friends or somebody in your life. It's a race with ourselves. How did we live our lives when we were alive and when we were healthy? You have your birth date and your death date, and you have that hyphen in between, that dash. It's more about the quality of life that we lived between those 2 years than the number of years that we lived. Let's just say your quality of life is excellent, but we only live to 50 years of age. Then I can tell you this, you know what, it was an excellent quality of life, so those 50 years were solid. As opposed to you lived 100 years, but you were miserable for those 80 years of your life, with not counting your first 20. So it's quality versus quantity, what we do. I know it's human nature, including myself, to look at others and say, wow, I wish I was retired at my age because I'm 44 and they've been retired for a few years. That happens. But you know what? Our journeys are going to be different. Remember that. And it's what we make of it with our lives. I like that saying. I think I said it in the last video. I think it was yesterday or recently. Is if you give me lemons, I'm going to figure out a way to make lemonade. Because I'm an optimistic person. And I don't know it all. I don't have it all. But that's okay. Because I'm going to make the most of my day every day. All right? At least I try. And that doesn't mean that I don't have challenges or down days where I'm out and about and not doing it or not feeling it. So, as long as we can remember that up here in our mind, then we have to make an adjustment as needed and change our thought pattern. Catch it, catch it, catch it, do something about it so we can be satisfied with whatever situation we're in. I read in a magazine, as I conclude today, that it said, if you are doing something in your life, let's just say whatever your job is, but you're miserable, you're wasting time. And that's absolutely true. So hopefully you have a job, regardless of whatever you do in your life, that you enjoy. And are you going to be excited and say, I can't wait to get to work? Most likely not. In some cases, yes. It's not like that for me, but when I get to work, I'm happy to be there and look forward to the week. The grass is not always greener on the other side. Sometimes we get to the other side and we discover, like, wow, I didn't realize how good I had it prior to being here. Something to think about. Hope you had a good information from this video. You take care.